So what we're going to do here is just explain the scales over the neck. I like to use the melodic minor approach. So the scales that I'm using are the melodic minor scale based. It's just a half step related to the dominant 7 dominant altered chord. So I'll just play the notes for you based on the root note departure. So here, for instance, here's our root. On the 6th string, we have. Not just playing the scales here, I'm trying to play notes that would make sense in a practice. So often we just play the scale. You get on a gig and you play the scale. And basically playing licks and ideas and approaches to the scale is what makes jazz free to me. If we're just playing scales, that's cool. Any time we play anything is an expression of peace. But learning to emancipate ourselves, free ourselves from it is a practice. It's something. It's a process of something. And so being in the moment has to do with, for instance, if we have a chord. It's not just a scale. We free ourselves from the scale and play something that's creative. So that's that area. Actually, I'm going to show the entire neck of the A altered vibe. So again, we have. There's the scale. Speaking of not showing the scale, but that is the scale. And then we just free ourselves up from it. And so what I'll do right now is just raise my hands up, because I've been playing for a little bit, doing this right now during this video. And what I'm doing is I'm reoxygenating the blood in my tendons, wiggle the fingers, breathe a bit, and then back down. Just a reminder that, all right, what's the rush? There's no rush. I'm not rushing, because that's not why I'm practicing jazz. I'm practicing jazz to renew and feel better as a way of life. So, all right, so let's say same area, but we're starting with the first finger on the 5th fret of the 6th string instead of our third finger. That's kind of the idea of the root note departure. We're departing from an area that allows us to see the structure of what it is that we're shaping through sound. So here's this area. I'm showing the shape and the idea before the scale. Okay, so here's the scale for the area. Again. You can practice however you want. What I like to do is practice the stuff that I think I might use, so that I'm not confused with scales versus musical ideas. So we have to resolve. So okay, so the next area is if we're root note departure, would be this area based on the 4th string and the 7th fret. So there's the scale first. But if we happen to be in that area and we're soloing, like for instance D minor. So here we see we have A here. Oh goodness. What is the scale area to play an altered dominant chord, the flat 13 chord, A7 flat 13, based off of this note? So many times in gigs we say, what is the note? Okay, what is the scale? Well, practicing, we know we can do. have the D minor. However, it might be resolving to the... You'll hear the notes that you want to resolve. So that just takes time. And the idea is that, Miles said there's no wrong notes. Because when we work into the notes and we blend with them and we work with them, that makes us human. Herbie was on a gig with Miles, and he was playing something way out and he missed a note or something. And he said one of the greatest lessons that he learned was Miles just played with him and just kind of went along with it. I think that's really the idea of jazz, is that, when you're playing with someone, or maybe that's good for in general with people. We kind of, if we're in conversation, we work together, and so that's really the idea of jazz, is to take something and work with it and make it sound the way you think it might sound really out. Well, then that's your expression of it, and you be confident with that, and whatever it might be, and but it's okay to have harmony and things that work together. So okay, so next area. So here we had this root note departure. So let's see. Here's another note. If we happen to be in this area, here's A. Here's another area approach to this. So the scale. Think about it. I don't practice the scale anymore. I used to do that, and again, as I'd say, I would get on a gig and I'd be playing scales, and I'd hear some people playing scales, and I'd hear some cat, playing a minor thing, and then I think, man, all right, maybe I can figure out who does that. And I started listening to the jazz radio. And I realized cats are being creative with the scales, and there's a whole language that's passed on, and that's why a lot of cats like listening to jazz, because they can hear the language expressed, and it's a recreation of the mind in a sense over the changes like Johann Sebastian Bach does in his Preludes and Fugues. Really relaxing, and his French suites and English suites, and just incredible. So anyway, so here's this area. So here we are at the A at the 12th fret. So the scale for that one is... But again, I like to use the shapes. Let's see. Now we're going into the similar area as over here because it's up an octave, but there's a nice way to approach this from the first finger. We were using the third finger. We have, here's the scale. I like to do. So if you happen to be playing the D minor. Good thing to practice. Okay, so that's that area. Now another one that I like, so again, we're doing root note departure. Here's A. Let's see, so we have same thing at the second fret. Here's A. So slowly. Instead of just playing the scale, those are some vibes, and you can kind of, you take what you like, because each mind, each brain is different. And that's one of the beautiful things about jazz is no one is the same. Even though we take the same scales, no one is the same. Same thing with emceeing or producing or DJing or anything that's going on. That's what makes it so beautiful, is we're all individuals, and every single thought or expression adds to the greater community consciousness of what the expression is. So even if you're using the same scales that Miles Davis used or Keith Jarrett or anybody, you're still being creative, and your own special expression is yours. So cool. So that's some of the vibes from the altered scales. I spent a lot of time with that because a lot of times the tension part of the release in the jazz music, the tension and release moments are the ones that create the aha moments of the recreation of mind, that yes, we have resolution. And the human mind likes to resolve. We like to go through things, understand things. After the struggle is the ease. But in the mind, it's sort of a tension and release moment of going through the changes. So cool. We're going to stay in the changes, and we'll go on to the next part. Okay, thanks. Peace.